But more importantly, if they start talking about their previous employer negatively or describing their former boss in a very bad light, then I think you want to pause before you think about bringing that person onto your team. This is part 2 of the conversation that I'm having with you as a leader who is interviewing for their team. As I said before in part 1, choosing your team is one of the most important components of your legacy as a leader. Now let's start with a question or a few questions that get at the motivation of the candidate. Because at the end of the day, when you're hiring someone, you want someone who is self-motivated. You want someone who has initiative. You want someone who is already demonstrating key leadership characteristics if you're going to bring them onto your team. But that self-motivation is so important. You don't want someone who is selectively motivated. And what do I mean by that? Someone who only gets motivated if it's an exciting opportunity, if it's an exciting deal, or something that's going to be high profile, or something that they'll be able to tell other people about. You want someone who is equally motivated for the high profile, sexy opportunity, as well as they are motivated by something that someone might define as grunt work. But you want them to be motivated to deliver excellence on everything that they do, no matter how big and how small. Because remember, if they can get excited about delivering something with excellence that's really small, that bodes well for how excited they're going to be about something that's really big, really important for your organization. So the question that I'd like to offer is, what do you need to be successful in this role? Now, if you remember in part 1, I asked the question, what are the key success factors for this role? This is another way of asking that same question, because in a successful interview, there are times when you want to ask the same question twice, but in different ways, just to see whether or not you're going to get a different answer or whether or not they're listening closely and they can say, wow, this question sounds a lot like the other one that you asked me. And frankly, I would answer it in the same way. Now you know you got a candidate that's really listening, that's engaged. And again, that's a very good characteristic. So when you ask the question, what do you need to do in order to be successful? Again, you're listening for whether or not they're going to define the same things that you believe one needs in order to be successful in that role. And if they are similar, way to go. This is a good candidate that's on the right road. If they are way off, then again, you might want to start to think to yourself that this might not be the right candidate for you. Another question that you want to ask, and this is one of the ones I love to ask when I'm interviewing people, and I've had the privilege of interviewing thousands of people over the course of my career. What motivates you? This is important because you'd be surprised how many people can't answer this question. They're not quite sure what motivates them. And they may think that money motivates them, but they don't want to tell you that money motivates them. And if you have a candidate that's sitting in front of you that's saying, that's a good question. That's a good question. And they say it too many times, you now want to start to think to yourself, maybe not that candidate. Because a really great candidate knows right away what motivates them. They're motivated by a challenge, or they're motivated by trying to reinvent something, or they're motivated by trying new things, or frankly, how about this one? They're motivated by failure. And then they can tell you why failure motivates them. I've had a candidate that sat in front of me that said that and gave me a good explanation about how they leverage failure. That person got the job. I thought that was tremendous and a great answer. Here's another question that you might ask. What kind of leader motivates you? Can you describe the kind of leader that would motivate you to deliver your very best work? This is an important question because for you as an employer, it gives you a little insight as to what kind of person this person works best with. And now you get a chance to assess whether or not the characteristics they articulate to you, whether that is consistent with who you are. And if it's not, then that's something for you to consider, because maybe this person may not be the right person for your team because they won't be congruent with your leadership style, or maybe not even congruent with what you need. I tell entrepreneurial leaders all the time, you don't want to hire you. You want to hire somebody who fills in the gaps. You must know your best and highest use if you're an entrepreneur, and what you really need to hire is somebody who can fill in the gaps on your team. Those things that either you cannot do, or those things you're not as good as doing, or those things that you don't need to do because you have a better and higher use in your organization. But now you also get a little bit of insight as to where that person might have had difficulty on their previous jobs and why. But more importantly, if they start talking about their previous employer negatively or describing their former boss in a very bad light, then I think you want to pause before you think about bringing that person onto your team. These are a few questions that will help you get real insight to the candidate that's sitting in front of you that you are seriously considering hiring. And if you haven't had a lot of interview experience, that's okay. These questions and your listening to those answers will keep you from making a critical mistake. Go get them.